April 1st, 2026, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. President Trump addressed the nation from the White House on the Iran war. Marjorie Taylor Greene watched every second of it, and when it ended, she wrote 4 words on X. War, 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 war. Not a summary, not an analysis. 4 words that described everything she had heard and everything she had not heard. Nothing about the cost of living. Nothing about the $40 trillion national debt. Nothing about Social Security. Nothing about health insurance premiums. Nothing about jobs. Nothing about the children who would inherit what was being spent tonight. The speech had lasted 32 minutes. The war had lasted 32 days. Gas had crossed $4 a gallon for the first time since 2022. And the President of the United States had told the American people that the Strait of Hormuz would open naturally when it was over, and that prices would rapidly come back down. Naturally. Rapidly. Shortly. 3 days later, Marjorie Taylor Greene was seated across from Karoline Leavitt. The setting was a congressional oversight session, April 4th, 2026. Leavitt arrived with the practiced composure of someone who had spent weeks defending a war at a podium, absorbing hostile questions and redirecting them with the efficient fluency of a press secretary trained to never let silence fill the room. She had said it multiple times, in multiple formats, to multiple cameras. When Operation Epic Fury is complete, gas prices will plummet back to the multi-year lows American drivers enjoyed before these short-term disruptions. She had said it to CBS. She had said it to the Washington Examiner. She had said it to the briefing room, each time with the same confident cadence, each time without a date, a number, or a mechanism. Greene had printed every one of those statements. She had placed them in a single folder, and she had brought one additional document that Leavitt had not prepared for. She did not open with a statement. She opened with a number. $8.4 billion, she said. That is how much more American drivers have paid at the pump since February 28th. That number was calculated by the Joint Economic Committee using AAA daily averages, federal fuel consumption data, and tank sizes of the top-selling vehicles in this country. It is not a partisan estimate. It is arithmetic. She placed the document on the table. A Toyota RAV4 driver is now spending $58 to fill their tank. That is $15 more than before this war started, a 35% increase in 5 weeks. She looked up at Leavitt. You have said publicly, in multiple statements, that gas prices will plummet when Operation Epic Fury is complete. I want to ask you 2 questions. What is the definition of complete, and how long will American families keep paying 35% more at the pump while we wait for it? The pause that followed was brief but visible. Leavitt had a prepared answer for the first question. She reached for it immediately. The president had been clear that American objectives in Iran were being achieved. The operation was on track. The administration remained committed to energy dominance and to ensuring that American families would benefit from lower prices once the operation concluded. She did not define complete. She did not give a timeline. Greene reached for the second document. This was a transcript of Trump's April 1st address. She had highlighted 2 passages. The first, gas prices will rapidly come back down. The second, we are going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. She read both passages aloud. Then she placed the transcript next to the $8.4 billion cost report. 2 to 3 more weeks, she said, at over $1 billion per day. That is another $14 to $21 billion, on top of the $12 billion already spent, on top of the $200 billion supplemental request your administration sent to the White House. She paused. And American families are still at the pump, still paying 35% more, still waiting for rapidly. Leavitt straightened. She referenced the national security imperative of the operation. She invoked the threat posed by Iran's nuclear program. She cited the administration's commitment to American energy independence. She said the short-term disruptions were a necessary consequence of achieving long-term security objectives that would benefit every American family. She did not address the $8.4 billion. She did not define complete. She did not explain rapidly. Greene reached for the third document. This one was the campaign record, a compilation of statements made between 2023 and 2024. No more foreign wars. America first. Lower costs for American families. She read 3 of them in sequence. Short sentences, direct language. The exact words that had been delivered to the exact voters who were now paying $4 a gallon. She placed the campaign record next to the cost report and the speech transcript. 3 documents on the table. The price Americans were paying, the promise that it would end rapidly, and the promises made to get elected that didn't mention a war in Iran at all. Ms. Leavitt, Greene said, I am not asking you to defend the president's foreign policy objectives. I am asking you to answer for the people who are paying for them right now. Not when the operation is complete, not when the strait opens naturally. Today, this week. The truck driver paying nearly $6 for diesel. The family choosing between filling the tank and buying groceries. She looked directly across the table. What do you tell them? What followed was the longest silence of the session. Not complete silence. Leavitt spoke. But the words that came were the same architecture that had been deployed in every briefing room for 5 weeks. Temporary disruptions. Long-term security. America first. The president is committed. We hear you. No number, no date, no mechanism. No answer to the question that had been asked. Greene gathered her documents without hurry. She aligned them into a single stack and set them to the side. She looked at the table for 1 full second before she spoke. I have no further questions at this time, she said. The cost report remained on the table. The speech transcript remained on the table. The campaign promises remained on the table. And Karoline Leavitt had not answered a single question about what connected them. $8.4 billion, 35% more at the pump, a speech full of shortly and naturally and rapidly, and a press secretary who had been trained to fill every silence except the one that mattered most, the one between what was promised and what was real.